Foley, followed by the pledge from Commissioner Underwood.
Morning, y'all. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you, Lord, for your grace, your mercy in our lives, Lord. Lord, we are more blessed than we deserve, God. And we thank you for that. We thank you for this great county and state in which we live. I thank you for our commissioners here today, Lord, and the jobs that they do and the families they represent, the districts that they oversee. God, I hold an agenda in my hand, God, and I pray, Lord, your word says that if we need wisdom, then ask for it. So, Lord, I pray that you give our commissioners much wisdom in the decisions that they have to make, God. So, Father, bless them, bless this meeting, and we thank you that your hand is upon us and you're working through us. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everyone. First on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes from July the 17th, 2023, special meeting of the budget deliberation.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood. Seconded by Commissioner McKenzie to adopt the minutes from July the 17th, 2023, special budget deliberation. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Next is the July the 18th, 2023 regular meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
A motion made by Commissioner Bald. I hear a second. Seconded by Commissioner Underwood. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Go ahead. Did you need something?
I'm just jumping ahead of him, I reckon.
Yes, sir. We just have the only change from the consent agenda from discussed yesterday is FA1 has a replacement item and has been moved up to the consent agenda. Other than that, it's as noted as of yesterday.
We got to pay bills.
We got to pay the bill. Oh, sorry.
Maybe I wasn't jumping ahead of him. Y'all were jumping ahead of me. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve payment of the bills and distribution of taxes which are listed in the Baldwin County accounts payable payments.
I'll second that motion.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood, seconded by Commissioner Ball to pay the bills. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Then the next item is BA2, which is a notification of interim payments approved by Clerk Treasurer and allowed by under policy 808.1. And that's just for the record to show what's being paid. All right, next.
Okay, now it's the consent agenda.
Now we're ready for the consent.
And again, the only change from yesterday is FA1 has a replacement item and has been moved to the consent agenda. Other than that, it is same as it was noted yesterday in the work session.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adopt our consent agenda as approved by staff.
And I'll second it.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner Underwood to approve the consent agenda to include item number FA1, which was pulled up. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. All right, next.
Yes, sir. We have no presentations. The next up will be public hearings, but at this time we will, the public hearings will be by the sitting board. So that way we will recess out of the commission meeting and convene the sitting board.
Okay.
For the two public hearings.
We're going to recess. Do I need a motion?
Let's do a motion to recess and then call to order the siding board.
I'll hear a motion to recess the commission meeting and go into the siding board's meeting to discuss the public hearing items. I got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie to recess and go into our meeting with the waste siding board. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Okay. We will proceed now with the public hearing. We have EL1 and EL2. Now, there will not be any vote on either of these items today. They're just public hearings, and all the information will be
in the Code of Alabama, whereby the state of Alabama establishes a solid waste management plan for the state, and then each local entity is required to adopt a local plan as well. So under the local plan requirements, the governing body has the responsibility to assure proper solid waste management within its jurisdiction, and those local solid waste management plans are 10-year plans, amended from time to time. At any point that the commission amends that plan, it becomes effective for the up to the following 10 years. In Baldwin County Solid Waste Management Plan, it includes the unincorporated areas of the county, including the county and the municipalities. All the municipalities within Baldwin County are participating entities in the plan. So a project timeline and where we are in the process. On June 20th, the commission approved the advertisement for public comment on the proposed amendments. It was published in the applicable newspaper within the jurisdiction. Today's meeting, the public comment period will end following today's public hearing. From that point, the commission will accept those public comments, consider them, and consider revisions to the solid waste management plan as part of the public participation process. From there, on August the 14th, the commission will consider those changes in the work session and make a decision to approve or disapprove on August 15th, County Commission. Following the approval or disapproval, in an approval scenario, the plan will be submitted to the Alabama Department of Environmental Management for their review and concurrence, and if approved by ADM, will go into effect for the county. First, I'll point out a couple of key changes to the county solid waste management plan, and then we'll go through briefly each section that was amended. The key changes, first and foremost, is the inclusion of the planned Magnolia materials recovery facility to be sited adjacent to the Magnolia sanitary landfill. In support of that regional materials recovery facility, recycling center, the plan proposes to expand the service area to outside of Baldwin County so that we can include additional recyclables and the residuals from that operation to create a regional recycling effort. Another proposed change is the addition of a C&D landfill at the Red Hill facility to serve the growth needs of northern Baldwin County and to relocate the Bay Minette transfer station to the Red Hill facility. Beginning, just real briefly, I'll touch on each proposed change. In section 1.2, the Talent Lane facility has been operating, so that proposed permitting language has been stricken. Again, the second bullet is the proposed permitting of a transfer station in the city of Daphne. The proposed permitting of the Bay Minette transfer station at the Red Hill Road Extension landfill. The proposed re-permitting of the Red Hill landfill as a construction demolition landfill. And lastly, the service area expansion for the Magnolia sanitary landfill. Section 1.2.2 is to remove the out-of-county waste prohibition language that was in the current plan. 1.2.3 is to strike or to modify the planned recycling efforts. So this is a move from area-wide. I would describe it as more individualized municipal efforts into a regional recycling facility. Section 2.1.2 is to, the last sentence is to strike the no out-of-county waste. 2.1.2 1.3, the inclusion of the Talent Lane landfill in Daphne. 2.1.8 is to strike the language about the privately operating recycling centers that are no longer operating. 2.2 includes the language of adoption. So of note, those dates are blank. It will be filled in following the commission's action on the amendments to the solid waste management plan. Section 3 is a recalculation of the lifespan of the landfills within the county. So this points to the capacity of landfills to serve the growth needs of the county. 3.3F, a series of changes around the planned construction of the Magnolia Material Recovery Facility. Proposed change to a figure indicating the location of recycling facilities. Proposed change 3.4.1B regarding the City of Daphne's current recycling efforts. And lastly, 3.4.2, which is a rewrite of the planned recycling programs to identify the Magnolia Recycling Center as the primary mechanism for countywide recycling efforts. And in summary, at the August 15th commission meeting, the commission will again review the final plan with any revision based on public comment and adopt a resolution for adoption of the plan, which will then be forwarded on to ADEM in accordance with the state's overall solid waste management plan. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Commissioners, y'all have any questions from?
No, sir.
Okay.
The only question, I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Terry, or do you mind if I ask Terry this question?
Yeah, go ahead.
In there it says residuals from the recycling material, whatever's left over that we will put. Do we know how much residuals we're going to have to be put into our landfill once we recycle stuff? I mean, is there going to be a lot?
Well, we would hope not. So anybody that wants to bring recyclables to the material recovery facility, they will have a contract with us. So there will be language in those contracts about contamination. So if you bring contamination, your tipping fee will be higher. If you continue to bring us contamination, there will be consequences for that too, whether you can still bring us the material or not. So there will be ways for us to mitigate that, but we don't know right now.
Sure.
I have a question. Would you please explain to me, because this has been a question that's been posed to me by many people, and you may have said it, but I want you to clarify exactly why we need to take anything from outside of the county for recycling. I believe what has been told to me is that we have to have a certain tonnage in order to make all that equipment work. And since we're not accustomed to recycling it now, that it's going to take a regional effort. And so would you highlight a little bit on that? I don't care who answers that question. You can both chime in on that, please, because that's been one of the biggest questions that I have been asked, and I would like for you guys to clarify that. I understand it, but I want you to explain to the public why the language is saying that we would take anything from outside of Baldwin County. Right now, if you think about it, there's a lot of waste, whether it be things that can be recycled or not be recycled, that are being buried in the current landfill, that we hope to start generating some interest within our own community, particularly aluminum cans. So could you highlight on that for the public, please?
Sure. So for us to operate and, hopefully get to a break-even point at the material recovery facility. That anticipated tonnage would be 12 to 14,000 tons per year, and that's based on commodity markets for us to be able to sell that material. When we did this plan originally back in 2015, recycling Baldwin County, we were getting about 5,000 tons per year. So we know we have some ground to make up. It's going to take us a little bit to get to that 12 to 14,000 tons per year mark. So at this time, the only outside entities that we've talked to would be the City of Mobile and the Porch Creek Band of Indians, doing some partnership with them. But we know that volume is important, and that's what we're trying to get to. So, it would be slow. We know that. But
Well, can you also highlight that we're not taking their household garbage? This is recycled material.
that's correct. It's not for household garbage. You can't just show up at Magnolia landfill with the truckload of garbage. It doesn't work like that. You're going to have an account with us to bring us anything, and that's how it's that's our current operations too.
And if I'm not mistaken, each one of these counties that we're talking with has to have a contract with us, and it states in there, that this is recycling material only in the contract.
We
Right.
haven't written the contract yet, but this is kind of the first part. But yes, Brad and I have had many conversations about getting those contracts done when we get to that point.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But it's going to include it, so there's, there no upfront that they cannot, we're not accepting, any household garbage at the landfill.
Now, most of the commissioners were able to visit various MRFs that are in operation throughout mostly the eastern seaboard. And one time we visited one, and there was someone had put a battery in, and when it hit the machine, it caused a combustion, and so it contaminated that. And when that happens, that's when you have a residual, if I'm not mistaken, that has to be cleaned out of the machines and taken over to the regular landfill. And that's what needs to be understood, that they're not bringing in, and if they continue to bring in loads that are, sometimes that's just a mistake. We could say your toddler dropped it in there, and things can happen, but that's how quickly something can become contaminated. And, throughout the county, you guys have these big green things, and how many times do you go there and somebody's thrown their whole bag of household garbage in on top of everything else, and it contaminates the whole load? So there has to be a residual, but there has to be parameters in there, and like you said, what Skip was saying, that there would be some kind of language in there and some kind of penalty that you'd say, you know what, we don't want your stuff anymore, and we have the right to do that. Is that correct?
Yeah, another way to look at it is this doesn't give other entities the right to bring garbage to us. It gives us the option to select the type of garbage that suits our needs, which in this case is recyclable.
Recyclable. Okay.
I think, Commissioner, if I can add to that.
Please do.
One of the first stages of the recycling center is a manual, what's called a manual pick line, where a series of workers will look for those rejected items, take them out of the recycle stream to kind of reduce the risk of something like that happening in the further stages of automated equipment. And I think to add to that, there are a lot of recycling efforts that are similar to what the county's been doing, which is kind of a first stage. You're accepting recyclables for further processing, and this step allows us to accumulate those, do some advanced sorting to increase the overall recycling efforts and lower that risk of reject that Terry managed earlier.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Any of y'all got any more questions? All right. Then I'm going to open this public hearing. Is there anyone signed up?
I do not have anybody signed up for the comprehensive plan.
Okay. All right, does anyone want to speak on the plan itself? Okay. Okay, if you will, please, you're going to get 3 minutes to state your, please come up to the podium, state your name and your address, where you live.
My name is Virginia Moore, and I live at 16875 Engle Lane. I'm fairly close to the landfill, and I am opposed to accepting out of Baldwin County recyclables. I think if you're concerned about the tonnage and meeting a demand, that just increase the collection sites. Have, shopping centers, schools, hospitals, make it very convenient to recycle. I mean, I do. I go to the Magnolia Springs Fire Station, and I'm amazed at how little garbage we have now, household garbage, but Baldwin County is booming, and I'm really opposed to the increased truck traffic, and really is my neighborhood. So I do believe that you can meet the tonnage with just increased collection sites. And thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anyone else? All right, please come forward, state your name and where you live and address.
Hi, good morning. My name is Beth Taylor, and I live at 13780 Norris Lane in Foley, more toward Magnolia Springs. I'm just a little bit south and east of the Magnolia landfill. And I am very concerned about accepting garbage from other counties. If you look at the proposed wording, it does not say accepting recyclables, it says accepting garbage. And so I've learned over the years that whatever's in writing is what is going to happen. And I'm very concerned about that. I agree that, as for Baldwin County, we are a booming county, and we currently do not really recycle. I think that instead of accepting garbage from other counties, it seems to me that we would want to promote recycling, having some kind of recycling campaign for Baldwin County so that we can meet those requirements instead of increasing traffic on the road. Instead of increasing more garbage coming in. The landfill, has had some issues in the past with groundwater contamination. I'm very concerned about that. The water that runs off from the landfill comes across my property and ends up in the Magnolia River. And, I have beef cattle. I'm a landowner. I have 80 acres. I have beef cattle. I don't want that running across my property. The landfill is already there. I was aware that it was there when I bought my property, but I don't want 6 more counties bringing in garbage and adding to that. If we need to meet a recycling quota, I think we should first start with Baldwin County. I'm a veterinarian in South Baldwin County. One of the places that I work, they break down boxes, they do everything to recycle, but one of the veterinarians said that they found their recyclables in the garbage. So they, making an effort to recycle, but still everything they had done to make an effort to recycle was just thrown in the garbage. So I think as a county, we should be looking more toward trying to encourage recycling. I don't recycle in my home because I know that, first of all, it's very labor intensive to try to find a place to take it, to sort it. I don't mind doing that, but it needs to be made as a county-wide campaign. Let's recycle, let's meet those quotas through our own county first before we start taking in garbage from other counties. I know they're saying recyclables, but that's not what the proposal says. The proposal says garbage. So, on a day that a north wind is blowing, I can smell the landfill on my property. The last thing I want is 6-fold increase on the garbage that's coming in. I've worked hard to pay for my property and to manage my property. I don't want to have to move. I don't want the increased traffic. I don't want the increased garbage. I don't want the increased runoff. I don't want the increased possibility of groundwater contamination. I don't want that. You know, I love where I live, and I don't want to have to give that up. So, you know, I'm standing firmly against bringing in, I think once we open the door to that, then we've allowed it. You know, we've allowed that, and there's no going back. So I say let's start with, you know, our county first. Thank y'all so much for giving me the opportunity to talk. I appreciate it. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, come up to the, give your name and where you live.
Yes, sir. I'm Josh Meharry. I live at 11119 Fry Lane in Fairhope. I'm also with BCC Waste. We're a locally owned and operated garbage company here. To her point, I don't think, I'm for taking outside the county garbage. I don't think you're going to see an influx in garbage. You will see an influx in probably C&D and recycle. Garbage-wise, with just logistically, you're not going to see people running from Mobile, passing landfills and transfer stations just to come dump their garbage. But for C&D, I think it would help. We've got jobs just across the county line that we're having to run, you know, way up either to Escambia, or if they're in Mobile, we've got to run them out to West Mobile to dump them. And with fuel prices going back up the way they are, you know, I mean, it's, again, logistically, time, all that, it's easier if we could run it, you know, something from right around downtown to Daphne and dump it and be back logistically, you know, and quickly, and we can work faster, get more hauls in and all that, versus having to take it out to West Mobile or anything like that. So I do think maybe that's something to take into consideration for your local haulers, is just operational wise and operational cost. Being able to do that would benefit us. On the recycle side, I just have a question about, is there going to be an increased cost with taking the recyclable material at the landfill?
So,
I don't know if I can ask a question or not during this.
That's fine. Do you mean like a tipping fee for bringing in recyclables?
Well, like for our commercial customers, they ask a lot of times, you know, if we put a 4-yard or an 8-yard out, you know, they ask about recycle. And right now, it's not, you know, obviously no, there's not really much to do. But what I think we've seen in other markets across the coast is they'll build these facilities, then there's an increased cost to charge the customer to recycle, and then they don't want to do it because they didn't realize it was going to cost an extra whatever per month for us to service it.
Okay, so I think it's two different sectors that you're looking at. There would be the commercial piece and then the residential piece. So we do plan to offer curbside recycling in Baldwin County once the facility's built, and that would be for the unincorporated areas. And then the commercial, there will be a tipping fee associated to that too. We have not done a rate structure yet. It would be a different, you know, different tipping fee for the MRF.
Right. Okay. Well, I was just curious because I've seen, excuse me, some of these get shut down in the past just because people decide not to pay for it. I'm for it. I'm with it. I mean, we got plenty of customers that want to do it. There is an increased cost on haulers. We'll have to go buy a new truck in order that has not had garbage run through it. But I don't think it's a bad thing by any means. I just hate to see us build it and get shut down because, you know, customers don't want to pay for it. I think residentially, I think you'll get a lot of compliance. I don't know commercially, depending on the cost, how that'll go.
Your time's up. Thank you. All right, is there anyone else? Hearing none. This part of the public hearing is closed. Next, we have EL2, correct?
Yes, sir.
That also was a thing, so I will hear that.
For the major modification for Magnolia
Yes.
Landfill.
Okay, who's going to make the presentation?
So again, Daniel Wells with CDG. We're the permit engineer working with the county on this project. So to recap, we're here, the governing body in its statutory responsibility has the authority to approve or disapprove certain modifications to landfills within their jurisdiction. That authority is built around the socioeconomic factors affecting the decision. Specific to this request of service area expansion, it deals with where the facility can accept waste from. In the context of the recycling center that we discussed in the last hearing, ADM's determination that the point of origin for recyclables occurs where the initial disposal occurred. So any recyclable that happens at a home within Baldwin County, that is Baldwin County waste. If it happens in a city, then that's the city of Daphne waste, et cetera. So the purpose of the meeting today is for the commission to accept public comment on the request. Consider that comment in the 6 socioeconomic provisions defined by Alabama Code, which we'll go through, and in subsequent action, consider those public comments and vote to approve or disapprove the proposal based on public participation process. So a little bit about the permitting process for the Magnolia Sanitary Landfill. We are in the first stage of the local approval process where the Solid Waste Department has submitted an application for host government approval to the commission. To accept public comment on that, we host a public hearing today and then subsequent commission action. Following that, if it's approved, the Solid Waste Department will submit a major modification application to ADM for the modification of the Magnolia Sanitary Landfill to expand the service area. ADM will then review the permit, make a decision to issue or request amendment, and then ADM will conduct a public participation process where they receive comments on the permit action, including hosting a public hearing, and then take action to issue a modified permit. So the proposed action is to expand the service area of the Magnolia Sanitary Landfill to include the Alabama counties of Baldwin, which is already in the service area, Mobile, Clark, Washington, Escambia, Monroe, and Conecuh. The 6 factors to be considered. Factor 1, the consistency of the proposal with the jurisdiction solid waste management plan. Factor 2, the relationship to the proposed local planned or existing developments, including major transportation arteries. Factor 3, the location of the proposed facility in relationship to existing industry. Factor 4, the cost and availability of public services. Factor 5, the impact on public health and safety. And factor 6, the social and economic impacts on the affected community, including changes in property value. So I'll briefly go through each factor and the consideration. Factor 1, the consistency with the solid waste management plan. This points to the proposed amendment to the solid waste management plan that we have conducted a public hearing on, specifically to expand the service area to allow for greater participation at the Magnolia Material Recovery Facility. Factor 2, the relationship to transportation. In evaluating the potential impact of a landfill modification, planning departments typically evaluate factors such as the potential increase in traffic and change in traffic pattern. On the screen, there are 4 primary routes identified to the existing Magnolia Sanitary Landfill. The first is from Highway 59 to the east on County Road 24, and then north onto County Road 49. Number 2, the route from the south from Highway 98 onto County Road 49. Number 3, from Highway 59 west on, I believe that's County Road 28, before turning south on 55, and then west on 24 before County Road 49, and then from the west, south on County Road 49. Because the proposed action does not increase the average daily volume, not proposing to increase the average daily volume, our anticipation and analysis is that there will not be a significant change in the amount of traffic or the traffic patterns in the area. Factor 3, the relationship to industry. On the map in front of you is the Baldwin County's long-range plan data, which points to the type development, whether it be agricultural, residential, or industrial, as well as city centers. Of note, the Magnolia landfill is centrally located within the county to service those facilities, allowing for the most efficient operation and disposal of solid waste within the county. And it is consistent with the county's long-range plan. Factor 4, public service availability. As an existing facility, we do not anticipate additional public services are needed to support the service area expansion. The infrastructure costs associated with the operation of the Magnolia Recovery Facility have been planned for in previous commission action. And therefore, the proposed service area expansion will not increase the cost of public service at the Magnolia landfill. Factor 5, the public health and safety. Ensuring the facility is protective, an existing facility is protective of health and the environment, really falls within ADEM statutory authority. So although it is a consideration of the commission, I think it's important to note that the facility is an ongoing active landfill. It is regulated by Solid Waste Facility Permit 0203. It has a major source operating permit for air emissions and control of those, permit number 501-0033. It has an active NPDES permit, which governs things like runoff, including erosion and sediment control. It has a wastewater permit for the discharge of treated effluent from landfill operations. Specific to the public health, I'll kind of narrow in on the solid waste permit because that governs the majority of the activities and point out a couple of key things. The landfill is heavily regulated, monitored, sampled, and submitted to ADEM for their review and approval to ensure that the facility is protective of health and the environment. The facility has a number of certified operators on site from day to day, ensuring that operations are in compliance with ADEM regulations. And specifically, we'll talk on the next slide about what all the facility does for groundwater monitoring to ensure protection of our groundwater resources. On the screen, you see an aerial map of the Magnolia Sanitary Landfill, including the surface water direction, or excuse me, the shallow groundwater direction. On the side, it flows from northeast to south-southwest. Around the facility are a total of 9 wells. 6 of those are compliant wells, and then along the southern boundary, there are 3 additional groundwater monitoring wells. In addition to that, there are perimeter gas monitoring wells that we conduct quarterly sampling on. Groundwater is done semi-annually and has been since the inception of the facility. The ADEM process, I'll just dive just a little bit into it. So the facility conducts a semi-annual groundwater monitoring in March and September of every year. That sampling is conducted in accordance with stringent ADEM regulations. From the sampling, we do statistical analysis to determine if there are any constituents within the groundwater, and then if there are any detections, then we do a statistical analysis to see if there are any statistical significant increases at the facility. This is an early detection program instituted through ADM and specifically the facility's solid waste permit. Should there be any detections, then the facility is required to immediately investigate those detections and determine if there's a source. Number one, is it an alternate source? Secondly, is it verifiable? Is it a false positive? And so we do confirmatory sampling. And should there be a detection, then we immediately move into limited assessment monitoring. So we expand our list of constituents to determine if there are other things that might be a leak of the landfill, investigate those, and if there are any potential constituents, then we move into assessment of corrective measures and ultimately into a work plan to clean up. Now, at the Magnolia landfill, there have been detections dating back to, I think, 2012. There was a detection in MW2R, which is on the west of arsenic. It was determined that is a naturally occurring metal in the area, and the landfill was not a source of that release. Since 2012, beginning in 2018, we entered that assessment of corrective measures to verify and to further assess anything that might be going on in the proximity of MW2R. Additionally, MW6, which is on the southern property, had a similar detection. We investigated that. It has not had any new detections since 2019, so we did a full assessment in and around MW6, which is on the southern property. From that, we installed assessment wells to monitor that area more tightly. We replaced MW6 because it had some damage to the well screening area, so we put in a new well, MW6R, which has had no detection since 2019. So overall, what I would say regarding groundwater monitoring, it's heavily monitored. The program ADM has instituted and the county follows stringently requires early detection and aggressive delineation, assessment of anything that might be going on. So it's a heavily regulated facility, and again, no detections in those two areas since 2019. Factor 6, the social and economic impacts. This factor points to the impact of a facility on the social aspects and economic, including property value. Of note in this, we believe there to be a very positive social and economic impact. The request to expand the surface area is in support of a regional recycling effort intended to help meet the state's goal and help meet waste reduction goals within Baldwin County and the southwest region of Alabama. Regarding property impacts, we don't anticipate additional impacts. Again, it's been an operating landfill since the early 90s. There is no plan to increase the volume there. So in summary, the proposed expansion is consistent with the proposed amendment to the solid waste management plan that was considered in public hearing earlier. It's not anticipated to have a major impact on the amount of traffic or traffic patterns in the facility. And the proposed expansion is necessary to support the planned operations for the Magnolia Material Recovery Facility. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Phil, any questions?
No, sir.
I'm going to call this public hearing to order. Is there anyone signed up for this one?
Yes, sir. We just had, well, Ms. Taylor signed up actually for the landfill disposal permit.
Would you? Yes, please come to the podium, please, and again, state your name because we need it for the record.
My name is Beth Taylor, and I live at 13780 Norris Lane. And, you know, I hear what is being said, and, you know, I respect that a lot of research has gone into it. I don't understand how anybody can say that when we are adding 6 counties coming in, that there's no impact on traffic. That's not realistic. But, I live off of County Road 24. There's already a lot of traffic. There's already a lot of garbage trucks, and, this is one of the pathways coming in. Also, I'm curious as to whether we can get access to those reports of the water contamination. That would be nice to have for us, those of us that live in that area and that the water runs across our property coming from the landfill. So, I just want to urge you to think about this and think about the people that live in that area. We have invested our lives into buying the land that's there. I have 80 acres, and the property values, that's a very real impact to think about our property values decreasing. And, I'm just absolutely urging you to look at every aspect of this, as far as the traffic, as far as the wording in this of accepting garbage. It does not say recyclables. It's, the proposal says a major modification to accept garbage from these counties. And, I want us to think about just Baldwin County. We are the largest county in the state. There is no reason that our county cannot do recycling and meet this quota that they're saying that we need to meet. We have not made any effort to do the recycling from our own county, and instead we're looking at other counties and looking in. And, I respect the fact that somebody has a business and they're having to go far away to another landfill, but, that's business. And, but I live there. I'm just urging you to look at every aspect of this before a decision is made, and look at the impact on the people that live in that area. So I thank you for that. Thank you for listening and looking at all parts of this.
Thank you. All right, anyone else like to speak? Hearing none, then this public hearing is closed, and we will return to there will be no vote on this, like I said a minute ago. This is just a public hearing, so we can go into the record of what was being transcribed.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would recommend you do a motion to adjourn the siting board meeting and reconvene the
Do I hear a motion to adjourn the site board?
So moved.
I got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. All right. Now, we can go back to our regular meeting.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Other staff recommendations, of course, FA1 is moved to consent. So the next item would be under ARPA, GA1, which is allocation of American Rescue ARPA funds for the Baldwin County Commission legal costs.
Make the motion to approve GA1.
All right. I got a motion by Commissioner Ball.
Second.
Second by Commissioner McKenzie to approve item number GA1. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Next.
Yes, sir. The next item, GA2, is covered in yesterday's work session. So next to the addenda, under general, we have a MOU with the School Resource Officer Program with the Baldwin County Public School System.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion we approve item HA1.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood.
Second.
Second by Commissioner McKenzie to approve item number HA1. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. All right, next.
Yes, sir. Next is HA2, which is a Budget and Purchasing Department promotion of an employee.
I'll make a motion we approve HA2.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner McKenzie, seconded by Commissioner Ball to approve item number HA2. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. All right, next.
Yes, sir. HA3 is the approval certificate of substantial completion of the new Baldwin County Animal Shelter Intake Building located in Somerdale.
All right, Commissioners.
I'll make that motion.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McKenzie to approve item number HA3, which is the construction of the new Baldwin County Animal Shelter Intake Building located in Summerdale, and this is for, to issue the CO. Okay? No other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Okay?
Okay, next up is commissioner requests.
Okay, commissioners, y'all got any requests? Commissioner Underwood?
No, sir.
I do.
Okay?
After our budget deliberation meeting yesterday, I had a brief conversation with senior staff, and I would like for the commission to sanction looking at ways to move forward with a more sufficient way of handling budget meetings. And actually, Roger was very helpful with some of, because they have worked in other areas. And, sometimes we hear it, well, that's just the way they've always done it. Well, there might have been ulterior motives as to the way somebody did something. So the main thing is we need to be presented with revenues and expenses, and then we're the body that needs to look at that stuff as a whole. And staff is doing a great job trying to compile everything. But I would just like to make sure that, as finance chair, I would like to try to finish the rest of this budget season out and look for ways to make things more efficient. Is that okay with you guys? Okay. Thank you.
Well, I think, we need to, like I say, this is the way it's been done for as long as I can remember it, and this go way back, this is the way it was always done. That doesn't mean that we can't improve, and if we can improve on it, make it better, I'm all for helping getting that done. Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of piggybacking off what Commissioner Underwood says. I mean, it puts us into a predicament sometimes with staff, with elected officials, when our staff should, I would say, have most of this stuff summed up and bring it to us, as opposed to us having to be the decision makers and being either the good guy or the bad guy every single time. Because if we don't approve somebody's this or that, then we're the talk of the town that we're not doing what everybody wants. So I think staff and the conversations that Commissioner Underwood had with Roger yesterday, I mean, we've been doing our budgets almost backwards for so many years. So this time I'm looking for a new start in a budget process that actually is going to make it, it should be easier for us. We should just basically vote on the budget and instead of going through what we're going through. So it's, I appreciate the efforts, Commissioner Underwood, and looking into this, and I'm looking forward to a new future and budget deliberations.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like I'm trying to recreate the wheel. It was just like something just not making sense to me about this. And with the discussions, they were like, well, wait a minute, I've never seen it even done like this, the way you guys do it. And I'm like, oh, well, do tell. And then some of the things they were saying, it was like, well, let's do a little bit of, when we start looking at doing things, we, instead of reinventing the wheel, we look at what other people are doing. Just like even with the discussions we were having with the MRF. I think I've been about 8 different MRFs. Amazing, fascinating. I never thought garbage would be so fascinating. So whether we call it recyclables or garbage or whatever, it's stuff that we throw away. And that's another topic. But anyways, I'm just saying that I really feel like that I just didn't want everybody to think that, oh, she's out there trying to change everything. I want it to be and if it's not better, we can keep doing it the way we're doing it, But I do think that there sometimes might be something that would take a little bit of the heat off of having to be the bad guy all the time. Not that it just kind of puts the commissioners in a spot of, well, it's their job to ask and our job to say no. Well, sometimes, there's some things you don't need to ask because you're going to get told no, and then it's like, be reasonable, be responsible. We are dealing with the taxpayers' money, the citizens' money, and, it shouldn't be just throw out. Growing up, I didn't ask for things that were unreasonable growing up because I knew my parents couldn't afford it, So there's some things that just need to be fixed, and I think that we can look at better ways to do it. So thank you for listening to me.
Well, the only thing I want to say is that last year, today is my 1-year anniversary. So last year we did it, I was really lost, and Ron did it, and he did a great job, I think, and then we're doing it this year different, so I'm really getting messed up, but I just appreciate y'all helping me go through this budget, and this is a lot.
Well,
Thank
the whole
y'all.
goal, and to piggyback on what you're just saying is, I want to understand these things, and I don't like it to just be like, well, that's just the way it is and that kind of stuff. And then we all have the capability of understanding a budget because we all run, it might be on a very small scale at your own household. You know your revenues, your expenses, and, you overestimate your revenues, underestimate your revenues, overestimate your expenses, and then hopefully you'll be all right at the end. But we have some responsibilities that we have to have here. Being along the coast, we need to understand our percentages that we have to have in reserves because we are a hurricane-prone county. Our credit rating depends on those things, and those are some of the questions that we need to know. We need to be educating ourselves on this stuff so that whenever it comes up that we got this many revenues and this many expenses, we evened out. No, we got to put money back because you know what? We don't want it to happen, but it can happen, and we know it can happen, and we're still not collected all of our reimbursements. We always have an expense out of our own pocket. It's never 100% reimbursed by FEMA or the state or anybody else. So we have to be responsible. It's called fiscal responsibility, and we are all capable of doing that. And we have some great staff members with some great financial heads, and we'll put all our skill sets together, and I think this is going to be awesome. Even though we're halfway in the middle of this, there's nothing wrong with saying that we can pivot. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other commission requests? Okay. All right, county attorney's report?
We do have one senior staff report that came in. Mr. Tom Tyler is going to come forward to give the commission a little bit of information on a information campaign they're about to do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, thank y'all for the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to inform you about a media roundtable event that we're going to be planning very soon, of which EMA will be a part. This is all part of the Beach Safe campaign, and our partners and I and Jessica are going to be meeting today at 1 o'clock to discuss this media roundtable. The problem is, as you know, the majority of fatalities occur in the Gulf of Mexico come from people that don't live near the Gulf of Mexico. The challenge is trying to reach those people before they get here, and that's working with our friends in the hospitality industry, in the vacation rental industry, and try to find new and innovative ways, and we'd like the media to help us spread that word. We've gone through a lot of different initiatives just in the last 6 months to try to increase that reach. Jessica's reached out to Alabama Tourism and Alabama EMA trying to expand the reach beyond the borders of the state of Alabama. But we need the media's help too. So the whole idea is that Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, and Fort Morgan Fire, along with Gulf Shores, Orange Beach Tourism, our friends at the National Weather Service, Emergency 911, Baldwin County Sheriffs, and EMA are going to get together and plan this roundtable event, hopefully get it put off in the future, near future. But I did want to inform you about that and as well as solicit your thoughts or recommendations.
Does this go in line with the donation, the life jacket program, and putting stations up at various locations on our public beaches that may have some safety equipment needed if the public needs it to use?
Yes, so that very well could be a part of it. That's a few of the discussion items that we've looked at, and there's quite a few others. As you know, you've got signs that are being made right now to address those county access points in Fort Morgan where they are sorely needed. And hopefully we'll have the first of those up by Labor Day, I hope.
Yeah, I spoke with Jesse on this, and I think he's going to be eventually coming to a meeting with us and approaching us with a pretty neat concept that's going to tie along with what y'all are doing. And,
yes, sir.
Definitely a great addition to our beach safety campaign that we run here on our public beaches that the county is involved with. So
yes, sir.
Great.
Any other comments?
Any other comments? Okay.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so very much. All right. Any other senior staff? Okay. All right. Public comments? none. Press questions? No press. Commissioner comments? Commissioner McKenzie, we'll start with you in the middle of the day.
Sure, thank you. I just want to say thank y'all for letting me go to NACO. That was interesting last week, to be in Austin, Texas. So if you're ever worried about traffic, go to Texas, Austin. Don't complain too much over here. I know it's growing, but go to another state like Austin. They do have a homeless issue there, and I just hope it doesn't come here. And I know it's here. Some places it's here in Baldwin County, and I just wish that we can do a better, if we can do a better job of trying to help them. And I know the county is looking at and different agencies. And but just thank you for letting me. It was very interesting to meet county commissioners from all over the country, from different parties. And but I hope next year it's going to be in Tampa, and I'd like to hopefully some of our employees can go as well to help out. So thank y'all. That's all I have.
All right, Commissioner Underwood.
Yes, I'll piggyback on that. It's very important for some of our senior staff to be able to go to NACO, because a lot of the things that you learn and glean from other people across the United States, even though other areas may be slightly different, there's a lot of things that may be happening in there that, we're not doing. And so this year we had some schedule conflicts. I was out there for part of the conference. It's very hot in Texas. If y'all think it's hot here, and they might say, oh, well, the humidity ain't as bad. Well, let me tell you something. It's like you walk outside your hotel and it's like you are in like they burning you or something. It's bad. But anyhow, thank God for AC. There was the Gulf of Mexico Security Act Council that I was able to serve on that panel. I think there was some things that was more informative the year before. Every year's not the same from that particular panel, but I do look forward to some of you senior staff that might be able to go next year with a few of the commissioners who might want to go. Maybe Tampa won't be, it might be hot, but I don't think it could be that bad. That was bad. But anyhow, thank you to the rest of the staff for all that you guys do. You guys, I know with the changeover in some of our senior staff, I don't really think we've had a hiccup at all with the budget process. I wasn't trying to complain about that. I just feel like that we can maybe get some better ideas, okay? And particularly Beth has been working really, really hard. Roger, Frank, I just want to thank you guys, because we sometimes get faced with situations when citizens call us about something that it is earth-shattering to them what is happening at the moment. There was a situation yesterday, I'm not even going to talk about what all it was, but when somebody's calling you on the phone and they're bawling their head off because they just don't know what to do, I just want to thank staff members, because I don't know what you said, but obviously your kindness obviously helped this situation, because when I got a phone call back, or actually got a text message back and just said thank you for helping us through such a very difficult situation that was going on in their lives. And sometimes things evolve around, family members that are experiencing mental illness going on, they're afraid for their lives, different things like that. And there is so many things that you would even think of that maybe not even something the commission contends with, but we try to help people. And I just want to thank staff for what you do. And thank you for those who are taking on new roles and new positions, for stepping up and being the leaders that you are. I appreciate that. And also, I am very excited about the opportunity to recycle here in Baldwin County. The main reason for all this revision here is due to recycling. We are really next to nothing on recycling, okay? And I think when Novellis came here was when everybody really got excited about recycling. So the intent, and I know I want to ask these questions because we've got the time to talk about this, is some of the wording in there, if there's any way that we can have assurances. We are not, in my understanding, I know what is written and what is intended are two different things. We're educated people. We understand that, and that's why we thank you for bringing that to our attention. We want to look at it. okay? And make sure, because the intention is not to take anybody else's garbage. They all have their own facilities. But as far as recycling goes, we literally have to take recycling stuff out of Baldwin County right now. And if Cambia wasn't accepting anything, what could we do with the recycled stuff that we have now? So if we can educate the people, okay? I don't know how many of you in this room have more than one rollout garbage cart at your house. I pay for 2. It's not that expensive to have that second one. I hope that whenever they start picking up single stream stuff, that we can just put our plastic bottles, our aluminum cans, our cardboard, and what's the other thing you're going to take? I can't remember. But in that other garbage can, and it can become a blue can or green can or whatever you're going to make the color of it, and then that old army green can can just be the nasty stuff. It can go, cat litter and all that. You don't want to open my garbage can. But anyway, everybody needed a smile. I know you did. But I'm excited about it. We don't want to do anything to hurt Baldwin County. And I checked on the question you had about the water reports. The ADM website, they're all there. And if you have any questions with how to access or find those, staff will assist you. And if there's ever questions, let me encourage you to go straight to the source, right over at Magnolia Landfill. Beth, you live close to there. Please go over there and talk to them, make appointment with them. And hopefully if there's something we need to be aware of and change, and if there's some language that can be changed or whatever, by all means. We love this place. We want to do the best we can, so thank you.
Commissioner Ball?
I'm good, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to yield my time to you.
Thank y'all for coming here today, for the public hearing, the folks that did show up. It's important that we collect everybody's questions on what we're doing with this program. And so, that's why we have to do what we do with these. And, I'm sure it's not that we're turning our heads to anything else, but, we have to look at every little pattern that we have to try to make Baldwin County a place that people want to come and live, and I think we're doing a pretty good job at it. And we have not recycled. We've been trying for years. And, it never had the commissioner's support before. We had several in the past that wanted to do it, and we just never got into it. Now we figured we have so many more people here that's moving to Baldwin County that actually want to recycle. So, and it's something that we can manage and make it thing. So that's why we're doing what we're doing on that. So. But anyway, again, thank you, staff, for getting us where we're at today with our agenda. It wasn't a great big agenda, but there's quite a bit of stuff we had to go over. I want to thank you all for getting that done and taking care of it. And that being said, do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We adjourned at 9:40. Thank you all very much.